Hello there. The TMJ, or the temporomandibular joint, is located here in our face. It is the junction of the rest of the skull and the lower jaw. And at this joint, we have a range of muscles that tend to get really quite tight, especially if we are, for example, under a significant amount of stress and we maybe grind our teeth at night. And so what we're going to do is we're going to give those muscles a little bit of a massage in this video. Oftentimes you might hear this work called TMJ work, right? TMJ is actually just the abbreviation for the temporomandibular joint. Usually what we mean when people say you've got TMJ is we mean that they've actually got TMJD, which is temporomandibular joint dysfunction. And it's in those instances that we're looking to provide a little bit of manual therapy for them. Tension here can translate into so many different areas, including tension headaches, but it can also travel downstream and affect the structures in the neck and what have you, okay? So it can be a really tender area, really sensitive area, and so when we apply our manual therapy, we're going to go nice and slowly, and again, know that you have the control of modifying the pressure as you need it. If you don't have a rad roller, if you need rad rollers, the link to the rad roller website is down below in the description. If you don't have a rad roller and you're not going to get one, you can utilize something like a squash ball for this, or a rolling pin, or the end of the rolling pin may work wrapped in a towel, but for this work, because it's quite a fine area to work into, you're actually better served by something like perhaps a small rock. But again, wrap that rock up in towels or blankets or what have you to give it some cushioning. The best experience we can have is one that we can rest into, and if it's too hard, if it's just the rock itself, it's probably going to be too hard and too intense, and we're not going to be able to relax into it. So to get yourself set up with your massage tool, we're going to set up a series of blocks. And we're going to come on down to our side, having the ball with us. And the space that we're looking for is, if you palpate at home, if you palpate your cheekbone, that bony protuberance, if you follow it backwards towards the ear, we're focusing on the muscles below the cheekbone close to the ear, okay? So you're focusing on, there's quite a good amount of space here for the ball, a couple of good spots that you can get into, but if you are wondering exactly where we're going to be placing it, follow the cheekbone back, and then below that line, we'll start there, and it comes down towards the jaw line at the bottom. Okay, so all that space is where we're going to be exploring with the ball. Come on down onto your side, position the ball on your props, some books or some blocks if you have them. Find the ball just below the cheekbone, like we just palpated, and then just start to rest your head very gently onto that pressure, onto that point. When you found enough pressure, pause and wait there. Just like with a lot of our manual work, we aren't going to move too much. We're going to stay relatively stationary, and we're going to give that point some time. If you find that you'd like a little bit more sensation, the movement that we're going to do, that I'm going to recommend, instead of moving our head, we're just going to open and close the jaw. So just a little movement of the lower jaw, something like this. And as you do that, you may notice that the jaw moves underneath the prop, underneath the ball, and at a certain point, you'll probably get enough sensation and you'll pause there, and then reverse back out. when you feel some degree of change in that sensation, you can either slowly roll the ball maybe a little bit further forward or a little bit further back, it depends on where you started exactly, and find a second spot, or you can release the pressure entirely, position yourself differently, and come back down. The movement is only very small, perhaps a centimeter of difference in position for those 2 points. Again, you can find stillness, or you can maybe find a little bit of movement of the jaw. If you feel like the pressure is perhaps a little bit too much on the bone, try to move the massage tool a little bit further down. Also, if you ever feel like you're going onto the back of the jaw, that would also be a moment where we want to pause and bring it back towards the side. As we go further back towards the ear, we do need to be careful of some smaller bones that are located back and behind the jaw that we don't really want to press too much on. So if you find that you're coming back further than the ear, pause there, come back forward, and repeat the work on the jaw itself. And we'll find one more spot. So when you feel a change in sensation, switch, and we're going to move the ball slightly down for this one. And then when you feel that spot, pause there. After you notice some degree of change in that spot, then we gradually release. Give your jaw a little bit of movement to test out what's happening after that work, and then we switch to the other side. If you need to take a moment to palpate, remember cheekbone, follow that bony protuberance back towards the ear, and then from that bony landmark line, we're moving just below it, and that's going to be our starting point. Position the ball or your massage tool, and then just gently start to give a little bit of weight of the head to your prop, and pause when you feel like it's enough. You may notice that one side is different to the other side. Again, we're not necessarily symmetrical beings. In fact, we're pretty asymmetrical in a lot of ways. And if you notice a difference in these muscles, then perhaps you might spend more time chewing on one side. It might tell you a dominant side that you do more of the work on. And so you might spend a little bit longer on that side if you feel the need. Taking some time here to settle. Using your breathing in and out through the nose. And then when you feel a change in that particular spot, find a second spot, maybe come forward or back, depending upon where you began. And just try a little bit of pressure before settling in. The structures in the jaw here are very linked with a lot of the deeper structures in the neck. And so if you notice that perhaps your neck is not moving the way that you'd like it to be moving, or it feels a little stiff or restricted, it may also influence the jaw. Now, chicken or egg, who knows if the tension started in the jaw and traveled to the neck, or if the tension started in the neck and traveled to the jaw. In some instances, it almost doesn't matter. We probably need to work both areas anyway. So my recommendation after this is to notice if there has been some kind of relief, not only locally in the jaw, but also in the neck. And if you feel that there's been a nice connection there, perhaps you might also dive into some of the neck work in some other videos that we have in this library. And that can help to augment this particular work here at the jaw. When we work on both portions of an area that tends to be linked, we tend to get more lasting results. When you feel that change on the second point, head for your third point, maybe shifting the ball a little further down towards the jawline, and then reapplying a little bit of weight on a needs basis. While I've got you here, a friendly reminder to once again hit receive updates, the button below this video. The reason that that button is important is because when new videos go live here, the only way that you'll get an update on that new video being released is if you click that button. Otherwise, you'll have to check back manually every so often to see what new videos have been added to the library. It's usually just easiest for us if you click the button, and then you'll get notified automatically. After spending some good time here on the third point, we're going to release that. If you feel like you need some more work here, if you perhaps are a chronic grinder at night, you might find some more value if you stay a little bit longer, find a few more points, work each side a little bit longer, and then again, perhaps also check in with some of the neck work that we've got here in the library. It will really help to augment the jaw work so that you experience a more lasting change. And if you are someone who clenches a lot at night, you probably are going to need multiple repetitions of this work. So I would add it to Not necessarily a daily, but if you have the opportunity, a daily routine, or if you need to space it out a little bit more, every couple or every few days for good maintenance is a really good practice. I hope that your jaw is now feeling like it's got a little bit more movement, and thank you for joining me in this video, and I hope to see you again very soon in another video.